What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new video. It is I, your Morphinominal host, Adam Perez, and we're here once again for another Ultraman trigger review, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, episode number 7 of the season, and it's official, guys. I officially popped my cherry when it comes to interdimensional episodes. You guys warned me about it, that things like this certainly happen. The idea of other Ultraman from previous seasons maybe stopping by or whatever the case may be from time to time. And we've got that already. I don't necessarily know if episode 7 is early for stuff like this to certainly happen. I'm kind of curious to know if you guys know, or if it usually happens later in the season. One other thing that really surprised me also was the idea that Haruki at the end of this episode is sticking around for another episode. Like, this isn't just sort of like a one-off. I was quite surprised. I was expecting them to kind of figure things out and him fly back through the dimensional portal back to his particular universe or whatever the case may be. Didn't happen. They're going off to go eat some ramen right now. So even from the preview, it looks like we're still dealing with the robot from this episode and things like that too. So it should be fun. I'm actually here for the ride to try and experience what this is like. And this is an episode that I really thoroughly enjoyed. I thought the humor was really on par here. And for me as a newcomer to the franchise, I thought this was a great showcasing for the Haruki character, considering I never had the opportunity to sit down and watch Ultraman Z. By the way, clean costume, man. The costume looks absolutely incredible. I love the Ultraman Z costume. It's definitely what caught my eye for last season. Unfortunately, I didn't get the opportunity to watch the season. It is one that I do want to go back and certainly check out. So I'm really thrilled to see that they wind up actually doing a bit of a crossover here and getting to see Ultraman Z and Trigger kind of work together. But I had a really fun time just getting the opportunity to kind of see some of the differences. Kind of trippy to see some of the differences, yet some of the similarities that each of these characters certainly have, especially considering how they handle the news of there being sort of other Ultramen out there. I do want to know, for those that have seen a multiple of these crossovers, is this what their interactions are normally like? Do they ever switch it up, like one thinks another one's the enemy sort of thing, so they fight against each other, or for the most part, do they usually get along rather well and sort of exchange some of the differences and similarities of their world and how they change into Ultraman and things like that? For me, it was just fun seeing two different Ultramen pick each other's brains, and I felt like for Kengo especially, this was a great opportunity. Like, even though it hasn't really filled him in too much on the Trigger history of Ultraman, the idea of him at least knowing that there's other dimensions, other people out there like them, right? Somebody that also kind of carries that burden. Although Haruki said he didn't feel like it was a burden or anything like that, or a big responsibility. So you clearly get to see how they both sort of tackle the idea of having this mantle sort of put upon them. And so for me, it was pretty cool to kind of see Kengo a little bit more lighthearted than normal. You know, almost like him and Haruki were almost best friends. Just having that camaraderie and something in common, I thought was actually really, really great. So I had a lot of fun with that, honestly. Cool to kind of see them willing to work together as well. I also put in my notes that this episode, again, had a lot more humor than I was certainly expecting it to. But I also love the fact that just getting to see Haruki and Kengo together, it really even highlights the friendship and bond that him and Akito have really been building up since the beginning. It is funny, like, just seeing their complete different personalities and how much Kengo is really invested in their friendship. But Akito is always so hard to read because he always has sort of this annoying face on him, right? But if there is anybody that can kind of read his his body language, right? How he's carrying himself, it's definitely Kengo. So when you get to see moments of annoyance from Akito, like just trying to get his arm off of him, right? Or trying to explain stuff like, stop asking me so many damn questions sort of thing. You know, just seeing Kengo understand that that's the pushback that normally comes with Akito just goes to show how well he's learning about Akito and like what really, gets him, really sets him off sort of thing. So I thought it was kind of funny. And even the idea of Haruki noticing sort of their partnership and how well they sort of work together. I do love that he winds up sort of bringing that to even Kengo's attention and things like that. Also saying things like, you know, you've got it really good around here, right? Like, you've got a really good life in front of you, sort of thing. So I thought that was pretty fun. It did very much lend to a lot of humor, you know, very light-spirited sort of conversation. And again, I had a lot of fun of just not only learning about Ultraman Z, but then just seeing those two kind of pick each other's brains and agreeing to kind of help each other with ease. I had a really great time exploring that. The other aspect of this episode that really jumped out at me is that we really have two space pirates in this episode, which I thought was great. Getting the opportunity to see Ignis in here, immediately realizing that, hey, this is probably an Ultraman from another universe, which, mind you, quick honorable mention, I did love that scene on the Nurse Desi where they're speaking with Hiroki, trying to interrogate him a little bit, see who this guy is, right? And then when he leans in close to Kengo in his face and he's like, "Are you Ultra?" And he's like, "Oh, okay, let's wait, hold on a second. Let's go into another room before we start talking about secret identities and things like that." I love Kengo's reaction to needing to keep his secret identity top secret. I love the way that he reacts anytime somebody is certainly onto him. But Ignis is in fact the one that brings up the idea that, hey, maybe they're from another dimension in here, and he also gets the opportunity to have a little bit of spotlight in here as he runs across the space pirate in the alien Barossa that actually got them into this situation in the first place. As we get introduced to in the very beginning of this episode, Ultraman Z and his robot friend, I don't know who that was in space with him, trying to hunt down alien Barossa. This guy winds up opening the interdimensional portal and actually sends both of these parties here. So we got a space pirate on our hands from Ultraman Z and Ignis bumping into each other, and I love these two together in this episode. I truly did. Just the pure enjoyment of seeing some of these, like seeing their reactions to the rare artifacts that both of these characters like acquired in their pillaging was just absolutely hilarious to me. The idea that we see Ignis trying to get the Ultra medals and things like that, them start getting into this back and forth conversation about, look what I've got, and I bet you don't got one of these, look what I got, sort of thing. And them just one-upping each other, and just the idea of seeing these rare artifacts and just having their minds explode. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So yeah, just super creative when it comes to just the writing team and stuff. Just the idea of coming up with all these weird items and things like that for them to get hyped about. It was just fun to actually see them kind of getting along for a brief period of time before the alien decided to try and stomp him with his gigantic foot, sort of thing. So, you know, Ignis does in fact sort of manage to get the Z medal back, the Ultra medals back. So he's really only in this episode briefly and as like for comic relief for the most part. But I really appreciated just the little squabble that we wind up having between him along with the other alien space pirate in this episode. Definitely had me rolling for sure. But man, I gotta tell you, the action and the soundtrack continues to wow me each and every episode, guys. I know I gush about it all the time, but it's hard not to when you've got great production value like that when it comes to these fight sequences. The fight was bananas here this episode. Not only did we get the opportunity to see Ultraman Trigger facing off against the alien Barossa, but both Ultramen wind up teaming up in here to go ahead and sort of take it down. And first off, great point of view shots in this episode for the battle, especially during the action. Just seeing like Trigger and Barossa like wrestling and struggling with each other on the floor. I mean, the cameraman was like right into that action and made you feel a part of it. It felt like it was just downright and gritty and just a brutal battle between them. I even love the idea of seeing like the alien literally rip these buildings out of its roots, kicking buildings over, using it as weapons, picking up the cars and just chucking them, sort of thing. They really just brought a whole new element to using your surroundings to your advantage and things like that. So they kind of see them running around the set and picking it up and throwing it and stuff. It looked like it was probably a fun fight to certainly film, but it looked great in here, honestly. One of the shots that really kind of really caught me off guard, that I was not expecting, that I absolutely loved. Maybe a hint of the special effects off just a little bit, like it could have just been a little bit smoother, but man, they do this all the time, I feel like, in these action shots. there's a cool shot of Ignis on top of the roof, and the monster turns to him and goes to slash down with his sword, and it destroys the building Ignis is on. But then you see him coming through the debris like he jumped off in time, and Ultraman just reaches out and he like literally jumps off his hand to rebound back down to safety. Great shot, man. Great shots. I absolutely loved it. Almost, you know, maybe not the coolest shot that I've seen in Ultraman Trigger. That probably still very much goes to the idea of the camera literally coming through somebody's apartment building onto the other side and then seeing a body fly through the building. That was incredible stuff in here. So I continue to be flawed, I continue to be in awe, I should say, of just some of the great work that they put forth in really that they really put forth and paying attention to details for sure. I really did appreciate that. But yeah, man, even I will say, quick honorable mention, I did laugh at Ultraman Z's transformation, right? The idea that he was waiting for Akito to finally go ahead and put something together for him, and then he really makes a brand new sort of spark lens to go ahead and use Ultraman Z's power in sort of the same way that Ultraman Trigger certainly does. So while I personally have not watched Ultraman Z's transformation, it was pretty cool to see another Ultraman transform the same way that Kengo does, if you know what I mean. It definitely kind of gave me goosebumps a little bit to kind of see that. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but I love that idea. I thought that was pretty fun, and especially the fact that he literally runs out before Akito completely finishes telling him how it's used. So the idea that he literally uses it as a gun at first, even shoots Ultraman Z, I thought that was pretty funny. And then just the direction of like, maybe you should, that piece right there, does that fold out? Can you try and I absolutely love just the little dialogue that we wind up getting in here this episode. The dialogue was actually really on point for me, honestly, but really cool stuff, man, in regards to the action, the Ultraman Z transformation, and then of course just getting the opportunity to see the showcase of both of these characters getting along with each other, working alongside each other, checking out the differences and similarities, and the humor was definitely spot on in here. So much more lighthearted than sort of the Armageddon episode that we wind up getting, but it was definitely a great sort of breath of fresh air to have a new character on board, even if it is for maybe like 1 or 2 episodes, and just hit us with some great humor and some great dialogue and great action. So I thought overall solid episode, really enjoyable for me at least. But I want to know what you guys think. Again, how are the crossover events usually for you guys like this? Like, is this how it's usually handled? Do they usually have different scenarios to put Ultramen in, or is it usually like, is this the normal formula for those type of episodes? I definitely would be curious to know from you guys. But listen, overall, again, at the end of the day, these are just simply my A+ opinions, but I definitely want to know yours, guys. If there's anything that I particularly missed, whether that be character details, a storyline plot that you want to go ahead and continue to explore, let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below after this particular video airs, and we'll certainly go ahead and continue our conversation over there as well, ladies and gentlemen. But other than that, guys, I think that's going to do it for us here. So in the meantime, we'll certainly see you guys next week. But until then, do me a big favor, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. If you enjoy our content and want to be a part of helping our channel grow, become a patron supporter. We have affordable tiers to choose from that offer a variety of exclusive and early access content, from audio files for all of our shows for you to enjoy on the road, access to our Discord community, and plenty of reactions, reviews, character breakdowns, and more. Check us out at patreon.com/A+opinions, and as always, remember, like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so anytime we drop a brand new video, you will be notified.